despair. When they were sick, I dressed in mourning. I deprived myself of food. I prayed with my head bowed down low. Oh, my Father, plead my righteous cause. I know you see them, cause you know it all. Speaking deceit against them who are at peace. Mocking and laughing, even your name they blaspheme. Over me, that my enemies not triumph over me. Over me, that my enemies not triumph over me. Telling lies and scandalizing my name. Please deliver me and I'll give you the praise. They're on top and standing tall. But into the traps they set, please God let them fall. Over me, that my enemies not triumph over me. That my enemies not triumph over me.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. It's a early Monday morning, and we here. All praises to the Most High. Apologies for the lateness. No, I normally like to do my talks on the Sabbath, but I had to work extra this week, so I was sleeping like a baby. I was really taking advantage of the original meaning of the Sabbath. I truly was resting. And when I woke up to something of I don't know, a barrage of text messages, voicemails, DMs, because all of a sudden, my old singing group that I left in 2008, one of the members put out a text telling everybody to tell me to do the right thing. And in their mind, I guess doing the right thing is getting back on stage and joining back up with said group for their reunion or whatever is going on. But it just made me think. I mean, I thank everybody for all the love that I received over the weekend. I thank everybody for all the conversations, meaningful conversations, and just opinion sharing one way or the other. But it just made me think when I finally got another minute to myself, what is doing the right thing? So let's start with the definition of right out of the dictionary. Right, morally good, justified, or acceptable. That's what it says right means. And I wanted to go right after that, as far as me joining up with a group. Amos 3, chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? New Living Translation. Can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction? So it's no agreeing, no direction. It's just me just jump back on stage with you. And that's the right thing to do, huh? Let's talk about some things. First off, the brother, well, I'm not even calling, he's not my brother. The person who put out the decree telling everybody to tell me to do the right thing is the same person who admitted to me on the islands of Jamaica, beautiful Jamaica, walking by the beach from the studio on the way back to the quarters that was provided for us, that he was the one who held back my gospel album, an album that I dedicated to, first off, the Most High, more importantly than anybody. Secondly, to my mom after she passed away. She was a part of the beginning of it, but she passed away during the process of me recording it. Well, not even recording it, by the time it came out, because this person admitted to me that they convinced the label not to let me go to pursue my gospel career because I was scared you wasn't going to come back and do our next album, yo. This same person who basically was the person who knew the business side of music. It was, I'm not even going to speak on other guys. I'm just going to speak on myself because everybody's story is probably different and they probably would come up and could come up at any time and tell their story, and it might be different from mine, but I'm just going to give it from my understanding. The person that told me, if y'all, in words, hold it down on the music side and make sure we good, I'm going to hold it down on the business side and make sure we good. Said person ended up with their publishing. Me ended up with no publishing. And to this day, it was a court settlement or whatever. We were on the phone for litigation, mediation, or whatever. Litigation, I believe. I'm not the smartest when it comes to them things. I have my areas of expertise, just like other people have their areas of expertise. But out of that, we were granted that we would get some monies or whatever sent to us. And from my understanding, it was supposed to be quarterly. I get like a little check once a year. That's probably like pencil shavings off of when everybody else get their piece off of what I'm supposed to get, and the other monies that I'm supposed to get that I was told through their management that that same person who was telling me to do the right thing didn't want me to have my portion, so that's why I don't get it. So who need to do the right thing? And maybe, like somebody said to me in one of my great conversations I had over the weekend, their version of doing the right thing and my version of doing the right thing are very different. So let me expound on what my idea of doing the right thing is, and everybody can have an understanding of where I'm at. And I don't know what he doing and where he's at. Really none of my business because I have nothing to do with that person. Anyway, let's go into some scriptures. Let's start in the New Testament. And he said unto them, you are they which justify yourselves before man, but Elohim, the Most High, knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of the Most High. Let's go to the Amplified Bible, get the same verse. So he said to them, you are the ones who declare yourself just and upright in the sight of men, but Elohim knows your heart, your thoughts, your desires, your secrets. For that which is highly esteemed among men is detestable in the sight of the Most High. So there's things that could mean a whole lot to people and even to the world. But in the sight of the Most High, it's detestable, it's disgusting. So let's just keep that in mind. Just like in the Proverbs, it said there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end of that way are the ways of death. That's another scripture we could take in. This is Proverbs 21:2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but Yah, the Most High, pondereth the hearts. You may think that everything you do is right, but remember that Yah judges your motives. It's a beautiful poem by the great Miss Lauryn Hill, Motives and Thoughts. Check your motives and thoughts. What's the motive behind wanting me to come out on stage after all these years? What's the motive that all of a sudden everybody in the hashtags that say you're going to be singing April Showers, which is a song that I wrote, and that person did produce and do the music for it and everything, but I wrote that song, and I used to beg to be able to perform that song on shows, and it was always, oh, we just gonna do the hits, we just gonna do the singles, we just gonna do the songs that that everybody knows and keep the show high energy. People don't know that song. That's that's an album cut. Now all of a sudden it's important enough to be in the show. I know a couple years back, Vibe Magazine did an article on the group and the favorite songs that they had of the group over the years, and they made that list. And was no, fanfare made of it or anything like that. But all of a sudden, it's good enough to be performed in the shows, and I'm not there. That's kind of funny to me. But I did, in fairness, I did do an interview where I said I would like that one of the new members in the group who's really a member of another group that I was a fan of. Rest in peace to the great Steady Major, but the group player. And I did say that it was okay for the brother Smokey to sing all my parts on tour or whatever, but I had no idea that they was gonna sing songs that I wasn't even ever allowed to sing. Yes, it's just funny, but what my man say, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. Let's go to Proverbs 30 and 12. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. Amplified Bible. There is a generation, class of people, that is pure in its own eyes, yet it is not washed from its filth. So, who knows? We just want to make sure we not part of that class of people or generation that think we pure, but we also dirty, for real. This is Matthew chapter 7, verses 4 and 5. It says, Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, Let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, there is a beam in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of your brother's eye. So first, let's get my money and get me what's owed to me. And honestly, truthfully, I don't even want it at this point. All I want, like I remember a movie back in the day. What's love got to do with it? And I don't remember a whole lot of it because like a lot of it I didn't really get into. Like I'm not really a fan of watching violence on screen or whatever. So like a lot of the story I couldn't really stomach because of the fact that I'm an empath and I don't like to see anybody get hurt, be it fictional or be it real, and that's funny to say because I grew up a wrestling fan and I'm a boxing fan, but this is violence that people sign up for. And wrestling is scripted violence, even though people do get hurt in real life. But boxing is like violence, but it's violence that both competitors sign up for. But seeing a person get abused on film, is not something that, even though it's not happening in real life, see somebody get struck, especially a helpless person that's not fighting back. But the one part of that movie that I do remember is when Tana at the end left and she said, you could keep all of, she wasn't even really concerned about the money, concerned about royalties, anything like that. She said, all I want is my name. That's the one part that stuck out to me the most out the movie. And that's how I feel in that situation. Like, y'all can have all that stuff. All I want is my name and my piece to be left alone, to not be brought up in whatever is going on in the current and the future of the group, Like my part was my part. I was there for the part that I was there for. And I want to be left out of, whatever is going on now. Don't put my name to any promoters. Don't say we going to have all 8 guys or whatever unless y'all got another 8th guy. Because this guy wants nothing to do with anything that's going on with that group. And that's because I understand too the people who enjoy the group. Those songs have so much validity and they hold so much weight in your childhood and your growing up and different periods in your life and moments of love and laughter and things of that nature. But in my life, those songs have to do with the worst, absolute worst parts of my life and the absolute worst times of my life. And anything to do with that group and the members thereof is basically like I don't want to say a trigger because like I'm learned and learning to be and stay at peace is one of the best things that we can have in this world. So it's not like it's a thing that every time I see somebody, I just go off. But it's just something that I'd rather keep in my past. Like you can't, somebody said that you can't hate the things that made you who you are. And the reason why I am the person that I am today, the reason why I am as stoic as I am, the reason why I am even as spiritual and ran to the word of the Heavenly Father to make sense out of everything that was going on in my life is because of the experiences that I had in that group. But it's nothing that was directly positive that came out of me being in that group, except for the fact that maybe somebody who's looking at me right now wouldn't know I existed if not for the group. So I will give it that positive. But outside of that, there's not much positive. It didn't affect me positively financially. It didn't affect me positively too much socially, because when you have to spend as much time letting somebody know who you are versus who they thought you were, that's a big time difference. And when people think automatically you're this guy because that's who they saw you as, and really you're a whole different guy, and you had to spend so much time explaining that puts you at a deficit, whereas though a person can just meet you as you are and get to know you as you are without any preconceived notions or preconceived, like ideas of who you may be, really put you at a deficit, in my opinion. But anyway, all I brought that up to say is I really want to be left out of anything future with the group. That's the right thing to me. And everybody has their right to opinion of what they think is the right thing, don't they? We still ain't lose that yet, did we? Okay. This is a scripture that's not in the what I originally put down to share. This is Proverbs 28:6. It says, "Better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness, than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich." New Living Translation says, "Better to be poor and honest than dishonest and rich." So if something better, something right? I'm poor and honest, and I don't mind saying it. And not poor like I'm a charity case, not poor like I want somebody to help me, and poor like I want a life coach or any of that old stuff. Poor like I have, but it's saying in the New Testament, having food and raiment, let us therewith be content. I have a roof over my head, I have clothes on my back, I have food in my mouth. I'm content. I'm what's known as a minimalist. Even in the times when I was in the group, yeah, I might have wore some jewelry and stuff like that, but for the most part, the majority of the money that I had in blue wasn't even blown on me. It was blown on just loving to see other people happy. Because by that time, I was pretty much dead on the inside. And I don't have a problem admitting that to anyone. I was pretty much dead on the inside. My joy came from living vicariously through those who I love. Splurging on my mom. Giving my dad something that he asked for to put a smile on his face. Doing things for my little sisters and brothers. My little sisters and brother. Doing things for people who just came to me and needed help at the time, and being able to help those people. Those are the type of things that put a smile on my face. Not necessarily anything towards me. Not saying I ain't do anything for myself, but the majority of the things that I did in those days was for other people. So I'm not a person, never have been a person who requires much to be happy and to feel whole and to feel at peace. So it's never been about like a bunch of money to me. Like a lot of times I just would put my stuff away, and somebody in the family, my mom mostly, because she basically handled that stuff for me, would come to me and, this person wanted to know if they could borrow this, or this person wanted to know if they could borrow that. And we all know a lot of times borrow don't mean borrow, mean half. They say you give to a person, basically consider it as a gift. So basically just giving a lot of gifts, but I didn't mind that because I wasn't doing nothing with it no way. But it hurts a little when some of the same people, when all of it's gone, then the same people will be the first ones to be like, what you do with all that money? Like, you asking? But at the same time, it's like I can smile now. I'm alive on the inside with much less. It's like what they say, better is life in a mean cottage. Let's find that. I can't spell. I'm typing too fast. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 29, verse 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. So it's just saying better to be in your own little small place, your own little four walls, even no matter how basic, mean basic, no matter how basic it may be, better that life in your own little place than delicate fare living it up in somebody else's place that ain't yours, don't really belong to you. And when you doing stuff, in my mind, when you doing stuff that is not you to get the things that you have, that ain't even really your stuff, you know. But that's just me. That's not the scriptures, that's me speaking. So this is back to the scriptures that we prepared, or I prepared. This is from the Amplified Bible. The same scripture said, how can you say to your brother, let me take the splinter out of your eye, when there is a long log in your eye? You hypocrite, play actor, pretender, first get the log out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. This is another one. Micah 6 and 8. Talking about doing the right thing, right? He have showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth Yah the Most High require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy mighty one. That's doing the right thing, y'all. Amplified Bible. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does Yah the Most High require of you, except to be just, and to love compassion, and to walk humbly with your mighty one. I don't say nothing about coming on stage in no group and say walk humbly with your mighty one. That's doing the right thing. It says setting aside any overblown sense of importance or self-righteousness. So how you make yourself so important and tell me what the right thing for me to do is. And self-righteousness, you just the pillar of righteousness all of a sudden after you done basically sold me into musical slavery. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 34, verse 22. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a bloodshedder. So you, the so-called founder of the group, I clearly remember you coming to the cafeteria asking me, is it okay if you come and sing with my group that I started? And now all of a sudden, you are the founder of the group. I say all the time, a lot of black people will say the only Christopher we acknowledge is Wallace. I say you should regard Columbus because you just like him. How you find something that was already there and just come in and join in, and all of a sudden you the founder of it. You Christopher Columbus' son, ain't you, boy? Or not son, but one of his offspring, ain't you, boy? This is Ecclesiasticus 34 and 22. From the Good News Translation, well, actually, we're going to read it from 18 to 22. If you offer a sacrifice as an animal that you have obtained dishonestly, it is defective and unacceptable. The Most High gets no pleasure from sacrifices made by ungodly people. No amount of sacrifices can make up for their sins. Anyone who steals an animal from the poor to offer as a sacrifice is like someone who kills a boy before his father's eyes. Food means life itself to poor people, and taking it away from them is murder. You telling them you don't want me to have my money. You basically murdering me spiritually, and attempt to murder somebody physically if you're trying to stop them from eating, because you don't eat, you'll die. It is murder to deprive someone of his living, or to cheat an employee of his wages. You in charge of the company. You run everything, right? And you tell them you don't want me to have my stuff. So what that mean? Who need to do the right thing? Is it not you? Do the right thing, buddy. It's funny, laughable coming out of your mouth. Okay, let's go to the next scripture. This is Matthew 5:23 and 24. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and thou rememberest that thy brother has aught against thee, leave thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, then come back to offer thy gift. Man, you doing drives and turkey drives and Thanksgiving and all that, giving to the poor and the homeless, when you got somebody that you basically you owe money, and you not giving them the money, well, not you, but the money that's owed to this person. You tell them you don't want them to have it, but you give money to strangers to make it look like you so charitable and so good and so nice. I tell you, boy. Go to the Amplified Bible. So if you are presenting your offering at the altar, and not saying don't give to the homeless, not saying don't give to anybody, but what I am saying is, why would you give to somebody who you don't even know? What they say, how can you say that you love the Most High who you have not seen, when you do not even love your brother who you have seen? That's what I'm saying. And while you're there, you remember that your brother has something such as a grievance or legitimate complaint against you. Leave your offering there at the altar and then go. First, make peace with your brother. Then come and present your offering. Like, first, come clean. Get right. Do everything right. Then maybe somebody will want to come somewhere with you. Maybe you want to do something. You see what I'm saying? And for the record, the last time that I did do something, and I did pop up on stage, and that wasn't even planned. That was me being a fan of another group, Jodeci. And Casey and JoJo was doing a show here, and the promoters had come to me and told me that, like they were going to do the show, but they were also going to add my former group. So I said, okay. And the promoter was like, would you like to come? He's like, we want you to do basically, like, if you were coming to a fight and you were ex-boxer, like say Mike Tyson come to a Mayweather Promotions fight or something like that, at some point they're going to put the camera on Iron Mike and he's going to wave to the crowd. And that's basically what I was asked to do by the promoters of the event, because I wanted to see Casey and JoJo. And because I'm a fan, I love their music and I love the way they sing. So it was like, okay, that's no problem. You come to the event. We just want you to, at some point, to come up on stage, wave to the audience. And that was that. I get to the event, and, well, actually, somebody else wanted me to go to the event with them. And I was going to go with them, but then at the last minute, I changed plans. I called the promoter. I said, is the offer still good for me to come to the event tonight? And the promoter said, sure, but we still want you to come out and wave if that's okay. And I say, fine. So, get to the event. I'm backstage. I'm hanging out. I'm interviewing with different local, like TV shows and things of that nature. And I forget all about that I'm supposed to come up and wave. I run into Casey and Jill backstage, and we have, like, their family, some of their family were actually my neighbors on the street that I grew up on, but I spent part of my time, like pretty much after got signed or whatever, my family moved into a home on the same street as some of their family. So I see some of their family, we all backstage chopping it up. I run into them. I get Kay was so gracious to sing happy birthday, make a little happy birthday video to a friend of mine who was a huge fan of his also. And we just chopping it up, catching up. I hadn't seen him in a while. So then down runs Big Rich, who is the security for the group, and he's like, they looking for you, they want you to come on stage. And I'm like, oh snap, I forgot all about. Told the promoters that I was gonna come on stage. So they bring me on stage, and it's actually in the middle of a song, so I end up singing or freestyling the verse just to let everybody know, because it's real here in Baltimore, that because you see me on stage with these guys doesn't mean that I have any money, so please don't do anything silly, because you'd be wasting your time. That's basically what I did, but I said it in song form. and it goes, like online or whatever, and a couple people watch it, whatever. But the bottom line is, even with that, the promoter came to me and was like, "Did they give you anything for doing that? Because all that we asked you to do was to come on stage and wave. You went on stage and actually sung a whole verse or something and freestyled it at that. Did they offer you anything?" Like, no, they shook my hand. They said thanks, would. And that was the end of it. Even some of their people backstage was like, "Did them boys give you anything for what you just did?" And I say, "Hell no, you know them." And they didn't. But the promoter, and may he rest in peace, because I found out later on that he actually passed away like a little while after that event or whatever. I don't know if he had other events or if that was the last one that he did, but either way, he passed away. And I wanted to make it to his services, but I couldn't get off of work. Real world stuff. I couldn't get off for real. But anyway, he told me, like, don't go anywhere. When the show is over, make sure you see me before you leave the building. And sure enough, he hit me with a couple $100 for that, but it's like, definitely appreciated it coming from him, but why didn't it come from the people who were so adamant about me coming on stage? Because the promoter ain't even say anything else about it. He probably forgot that he asked me, but these guys were so adamant to send security down to get me, to fetch me from where I was and bring me on stage. So it's just a history of, and not to even go into all of it, but it's a history of me getting the short end of the stick every time I had dealings with these guys. From day one, anything that I had to my credit was taken away from me and given to somebody else. Like early in the whole thing, like I remember going with, rest in peace, to DJ Reggie Reg. I remember coming to the radio station, and me and Cisco used to always go to the radio. Like, it was fun for us. We'd go and be on the live lines, and before it was a Facebook, before it was Instagram and all that, we'd go on the radio with DJ Reggie Reg and answer the phone for an hour, and we'd end up with somewhere to go for the rest of the night. We'd find some ladies who would pick up on the phone line, and we'd go meet up with them somewhere, hang out, if it was at their house or if we went out, took them out or something like that. That was our thing to do. So he asked us one year to do interview, and he interviewed us one by one. It wasn't both of us at the same time. So I said my parts, answered his questions, and he did his parts and answered his questions, and then he put it together. So when he put his part together, I was like, I answered my questions, but then when I heard it, his for the first time was when it broadcasted on the radio. And I heard him say some things that weren't true. As far as like he was saying, yeah, Noak started the group and this and this and this. And I called him. As soon as it went off the air, I called him. I said, "What was that?" And he was like, "Oh, well, we gotta give him something because he don't really sing like that, and we don't want people to look at him as this person of our group." And I'm not going to mention that person because I have a lot of respect for the person that he said he don't want him to look at him as this person, but in our group, because that person is in another group. And basically he's saying that person wasn't really doing anything, or why was they there? And we don't want them to look at him like that. So I'm like, okay, so you give him credit for what I did, so then people look at me like that. And sure enough, self-fulfilling prophecy, it was an article fast forward years later when they said the most useless members of every group, and they put that person who they said they didn't want him to be looked at as that person. They put me and that person and other artists in a whole article about who is the most useless people in every group. So if you put me in a position to be looked at as the least important person in every group, why in the world would you think to call me back to be there if I'm so unimportant? Like, let me be unimportant where I am, and living my life and going to work every day and living a life that the Most High and me have set the course the Most High set me on. And then you keep doing what you're doing on the course that you on. Why bother me? Why bother the person that is at peace? But let's get back into these scriptures, man. I don't want this to be too long. I'm not even pride myself, but I'm testing myself to see if I could do one of my favorite scriptures, say much in few words, and make these videos as short as possible for people like me who have short attention spans. But this is probably going to be one of the ones that you could just put your headphones in or just play it out loud while you clean your place or something, because it's a little long for my liking already. But we almost done. It says, Proverbs 24:1. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. Contemporary English version. Don't be jealous of crooks, or want to be their friends. Somebody who stole from me is a crook to me, and I don't want to be their friend. God's Word translation. Do not envy evil people, or wish you were with them. I don't wish I was with y'all. I really don't. I have no desire to be around y'all, in no capacity. For real, no way, shape, or form. Ephesians 5:4. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. New Living Translation. Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness, instead expose them. Amplified Bible. Do not participate in the worthless and unproductive deeds of the darkness, but instead expose them. And this is how you expose them. By exemplifying personal integrity, which I try to do every day, moral courage to say, no, I don't want to be part of nothing that you're doing, and godly character. And that's something that I work on every day. That's all I'm trying to do, man. So please leave me where I'm at, and please go ahead and do what you're doing. Ecclesiastes 12:13. We getting close to the end. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This is what's right, brother. Good News Translation. After all, there's only one thing to say. Have reverence for Elohim and obey his commands, because that is all we are created for. So if that's all we're created for, that's what's right, brother. That's what's good. Homie? You ain't my homie, but yeah. Ecclesiastes 28:13. Curse the whisperer and the double tongued. I had a homeboy that used to call that man Whispers, because he says what he do in all the songs, Whispers. Now we not gonna do that. But curse the whisperer and the double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. I was at peace Saturday. I was at my Sabbath rest. I wake up to a whole bunch of texts because you say do the right thing. People talking about, is you gonna do it? Is you gonna do the right thing? I say I am doing the right thing, staying as far away as I can from people that I don't fool with, and not being fake and phony. That's what I'm doing. That's the right thing to me. Good News Translation. Vicious talk. Gossip and liars deserve to be cursed, because they have been the ruin of many who were minding their own business. Anybody who's followed me on social media from 2007 or 8 when I first got on until now can tell you they could probably count on one hand the amount of times I even mentioned that group. My name never been on social media such and such from this, or this person from the legendary that, or none of that. Not knocking nobody who does that, but I'm just saying that's never been me. That's not nothing that I'm really proud of. If you hear me, anybody mention that, it's somebody else that's around me, quote unquote, clout chasing. Like, you ain't know who this is? You don't know who this is, do you? And the whole time I'm sitting there like, nobody. I don't know what you're talking about. No. You know? But it's never me. That's never come out of my mouth. You know, and if it is, it's like in the inbox, and somebody speaking on something that I've been through, and then I might be like, hey, I could chime in. I might know a little bit about that because of my past experiences and my past line of work, but it's never me doing it in a clout chasing way and presenting myself and me putting that in front of saying that's who I am or whatever, just to the public. Like, hey, acknowledge me, know me. If anything, I go through pretty much, not great lengths, but I go to lengths to not be remembered as such, you know. Even the fact that growing out, this is a kind of sort of like a little mask underneath the other mask that we wear. I'm happy that we wear masks. I'm not happy that we wear them because I can't always breathe so good, but it is upsides to, they say see the good in everything. Now, the upsides to that is that you don't just see me walking down the street and like, hey, didn't you used to, hey, when the last time you talked to such and such and so and so? Like, nope. I got my mask on look like everybody else. You feel me? But yeah. 1 Thessalonians 4:11. and that ye study to be quiet, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you. This last one. New Living Translation. Make it your own goal to live a quiet life. That's my goal, to live a quiet life. Minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. So that's what doing the right thing is to me, my brother. Minding my, well, not my brother. That's what doing the right thing is to me, person who asked, the person who told everybody to tell me to do the right thing. This is what doing the right thing to me is. Let's read it one more time. New Living Translation of 1 Thessalonians 4 and 11. Make it your business, make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. So somebody let that person know, because they blocked from my phone and they blocked from all my social media, even though somebody told me they'd be looking. But hey, who knows? I'm doing the right thing. You do the right thing and leave me alone. And do your tour, enjoy your whatever it is that you're doing. And let's leave it at that, please. Most High bless and keep everybody watching. And prayerfully we'll be back next week with another one. And by the way, that song at the beginning was something that knew that I was working on or whatever. And prayerfully it'll be finished soon, and maybe we'll put it up here on YouTube so everybody can check it out in its entirety. That being said, shalom, peace, have a blessed week, and I'm out.